What is up, everybody? Hope your ears are bleeding now.
I know mine are.
If not, they will be soon.
Yeah.
This is Zach with the Nerd Cave Podcast, episode 240. I'm joined along with the rest of the Nerd Cave crew.
I am Robbie.
I'm Allie.
Hope that your week is going excelente. If you're
Muy excelente.
yes. This episode is brought to you by Grammarly. We'll talk about more about that later on, though. And Patreon.com. So if you want to get it early, check it out there. So, how has everybody's week been going?
Been pretty good. We've all survived the ice storm of 2018.
Yeah.
Here over in Pensacola and Gulf Breeze, Florida. Yep. Everybody else's work and school got canceled.
Yours didn't.
Mine did not. We closed for the hurricane that hit nowhere near us. We're not going to close when there's ice on the road.
Oh, that's amazing.
But yeah, that's my luck.
Hmm.
But
the ice
you know,
bad?
ended up. I mean, it wasn't too bad
Okay.
by the time I got on the road because I had something break on my car that
Yeah.
a hose busted because of the cold, so I had to fix a busted hose on my car in like 22 degrees weather.
fun.
No, that's always fun.
Yep, my hands came back like. But you know.
How was that again? Okay. For the audio listeners, Robbie's hands are contorted. I just wanted y'all to see that.
Just been chilling, hanging out with friends, playing some video games, but that's about it.
Good. Allie, how about you?
It was pretty good. I had a lot of time off. Like I had a lot of schoolwork to do, and then trying to get back into. Like that's the thing is like I was trying to like practice like piano and stuff for school, but it's been so cold I can't practice because my fingers like they'll get all numb, and I have bad blood circulation in my fingers, so like they already get really cold, and so trying to practice it's like my hands get frozen. I'm like I'm gonna go home, but
Because you practice in a church that when they don't have church,
Yep.
they turn off everything.
Yep. So it gets either like really really cold or really really hot.
Yeah, it's good for the tuning of that piano.
Oh, so good,
Yeah.
so good. That piano's so.
I just don't think people think about that kind of stuff.
No, they
Whatever.
don't.
Yeah, and then I'm running on about. I don't know.
As I scoot closer to you.
Yeah, 3 hours of sleep. I got 4 the night before, so.
You got 5 hours of sleep
Yeah.
in the last 2 nights.
I'm
Feeling good.
Yeah.
Feeling good.
Feeling real good.
So me and Amy last week went to the Florida Music Educators Conference. No, this is not a FMEA association, whatever. Anyway.
FEMA?
This is not, the FEMA conference.
Yeah.
This is not a music podcast or anything, but it was a good time. Got a lot of good food and everything. And then this week, had Monday off because of Martin Luther King Day.
Had
Tuesday.
Yeah.
No, I went to work on Tuesday. Halfway through the day, they were like, oh, everything's canceled after this point in time. So rehearsal that night was canceled for all county. Wednesday had off. So Wednesday, like, Amy's been wanting to see snow like nobody's business. So it kind of iced over here. It wasn't really snow much.
Yeah.
So we got up and we ate cinnamon rolls because your mother has pretty much ingrained if it's cold outside, chili and cinnamon rolls is the only way to warm up. So we had cinnamon rolls, which were awesome. And then Amy wanted to see the snow. So the only place I knew that would have snow would be my mom and dad's house. So we went up all the way to Jay, so she could see some snow and everything, and hung out with them, and it was a really good time. But just a word to the wise: when you have a significant other and they want to have something or want to see something, you make sure that they get that.
You do.
Because then they're happy, and then you're happy. So it was a good day.
Happy mom, happy life.
Yeah, it's a very good saying. Because it's true, 100%. But other than that, just work and excited for kicking off this week. Like this is the real full week of the Nerd Cave's return for 2018. Last week dropped a lot of knowledge bombs on people.
Yeah. It dropped, things. Obviously, the new set it
Mm-hmm.
dropped. Our new Patreon tiers, which you guys really need to check out. Because,
Yeah, they're awesome.
There's everything from extra episodes to giveaways of some really cool prizes, and it's not that expensive either. It's pretty much probably less than what you spend eating out each week.
Oh yeah, easily. I know, definitely. Like
you can what you pay for a meal at McDonald's, you could pay here and get way cooler stuff.
Yeah,
And less grease, way less grease.
yeah.
Actually, no grease.
No grease at all, unless someone doesn't bathe, and then.
Well, do we have like the? Because I think it's like candy store. I don't know. There's like some like food factories where it's like they have like a certain like dead animal, like dead bug percentage.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a lot of their
acceptable.
Like
Yeah,
cereal
so-
and peanut butter, they have an
Yeah.
acceptable amount
food.
of.
So like we have that. We have an acceptable percentage of grease on stuff.
Yes, 10%. But like just thinking about that, I go to Chick-fil-A quite often. If I didn't get breakfast one morning, I could support us at $5.
Oh yeah,
And
those chicken manis, man, they're delicious.
I don't do the chicken minis.
That's
I do
my
the
go-to.
I do the number one. I get the actual biscuit. Like the chicken minis are good. It's just too sweet in the morning for me.
That's fair.
Like even though I get a large sweet tea.
It's too sweet because
Too
I'm
s-
already drinking sugar.
Yeah, yeah. One last thing before we get into all the awesome stuff that we want to talk about. The format has changed on the show. If you haven't watched last week's episode or listened to it, we're no longer talking about video games. That is its own separate show, and it does have a name. Last week I didn't have a name.
Yep.
It is called Nerd Cave Plus. Nerd Cave Plus, and that's going to be starting on Tuesday of this week at 7:00 p.m. Who's going to be co-hosting with me on
When is
Tuesday?
it?
What is it again?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Do you have anything Tuesday?
I'll have to double check.
One of them will be co-hosting
Yeah.
with me. So if you're wondering where all the gaming news, I know that's kind of in 2017 turned into a gaming show pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, there's
and,
so much to talk about.
and we'll still be releasing the audio for the podcast.
Yeah. There will be an audio version of Nerd Cave Plus and
Yes.
everything. So it will be twice weekly, Tuesdays and Thursdays. That way you're getting content fresh and it's not a week old.
Yeah.
And because I didn't want the listeners who just listen to us on the podcast. Well, I don't want them to be like, oh, well, I'm losing out on all the gaming news. You're not losing out on any of the gaming news because we are still bringing it to you.
If anything, you're getting more because we're able to like put more time into it.
Mhm.
Also, there's 2 shows.
Yeah,
The
then
same show, but it's twice a week.
Yeah. So it's all fresh and clean. It's live. We'll be taking questions as well. I've built a form, and I'll talk more about that on Nerd Cave Plus. But there's a form. You'll submit your questions. We'll read it live as I burp into the mic. But we won't talk to the chat. We will not talk to the chat.
Oh.
Just putting that out there so everyone's already aware. Nerd Cave Plus will be a non-chat inclusive.
Because we've had, not people of the Nerd Cave, but, people who just randomly popped in. They're like, these guys aren't even talking to me. We're peacing out.
Yeah.
Sorry. We don't want it to be like that, but for the sanctity of the show.
Yeah, it's a podcast. And then once we get into the gaming, we'll have an hour or so
Yeah.
gaming. Then that's when we'll talk to
Yeah.
the chat.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to let everybody know where all the gaming stuff is because
Housekeeping.
because that was one thing that people wanted, and then we did, and then it felt like we just talked about gaming. So we've revamped the show. It's a lot more kind of laid back. It's like a bunch of
Cash.
friends.
It's Cash Fridays.
Back to what it what it used to be, and I think that's when we were at the height of the podcast world now. But
Popularity.
when I felt like we were at our best is when we could, come in here and be like, "Yo, man, have you heard about this?" And then we just talk about
I'm like,
it.
yo, I haven't heard about that. Dude, tell me about that.
And then I tell you about that.
I love
Saw, bro.
it. Saw, bro, fam.
Lit.
It's lit.
Lit. So, to start it off, have either one of y'all been to an IKEA before?
No. I've
No.
always wanted to go, though.
I heard you got to put a lot of small things together before you can get there.
Before you, what do you
IKEA, because they're known to have
You got all little...
before you can get the furniture
yeah,
put?
you
Yeah,
have to prove your worth.
Yeah, you do.
They have puzzles.
No, it's like before you get into the store, you have to prove your worth to get into the store.
No,
There's a grand wizard. Every time someone he goes, "You shall not," and then you can't go in.
I think that would be a poor business model.
I think that'd be a hilarious
Like,
business model.
A very poor business model because you're turning away so many people that want to just go in. You know, if you've never been to an IKEA, one, you're missing out. This would be a way to see, like, if you want to date somebody. You take them into IKEA and you see what their tastes are.
Oh.
And it's like a 3-hour experience.
Oh.
It's a good way to weed people out.
Yeah, you're just like, what do you like? You know, you just see what they're about and everything. It tells a lot about a person.
Especially if they pick like a really uncomfortable couch. It's like, this isn't gonna work out.
Yeah, you have no taste. But me and Amy went while we were down in Tampa. Like, ever since I went to IKEA 2 years ago, IKEA has been the greatest thing in the world. So Amy went with me, and we went in, and the whole time she's like, I didn't know they had all this stuff. And like, you know, you go into like rooms to go, and they have like little like sections that's like a room or whatever. IKEA is like on crack.
Yeah, that's
Like,
what I've seen some pictures, and I'm like, it looks like heaven.
Yeah. Now, needless to say, IKEA's furniture is cheaper made than rooms to go stuff. But it's just thing after thing after thing, and it breaks it up, and it starts with like couches and everything, and then you go to tables, then you go to kitchens, and then you go to bed, and like it's just like all these different things, and you're just getting bombarded, and you have to walk around the whole showroom floor. Then you go down into like all the like dishes and like the art and like all of this, so you're just getting like sensory overload like the whole time, and you're just like, wow, there's so much stuff, and it's so cheap. It's so cheap. Then you get to the warehouse part, like the whole time, like you're writing down like what the name is, and like it tells you what aisle and everything, and it's like a Sam's, pretty much. And if you haven't heard about Sam's, is like closing like thousands of stores and didn't tell any of their employees.
Right, yeah, that's right. Wait, is it Sam's Club or just
Yes,
Walmart?
it was Sam's Club.
Oh, okay, I didn't know if it was Sam's Club or just Walmart.
Yeah. So it's sort of like this big warehouse, and like you're pulling things off the shelf and all of this, and like you're getting all the parts that you need. So it's like a whole experience. Good way to weed out the bad people. But we went through, and like as much as we got 2 surge protectors, and we got my little iPad on because I needed something to like hold the iPad up because it's like always like on the ground. I'm like,
yeah, I mean,
not the ground, the table.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But
all right, I got the next topic.
so while we were there, I had an idea because it costs a ton to ship anything from IKEA. I looked at like shipping the couch that we looked at and everything. It was as much to ship the couch as to buy the couch. Like it was double the price just to ship it. So I had this idea form in my head. We rent a U-Haul truck. We go to Atlanta. We get the couch, but we also open it up to other people to get, go up there and purchase their item and bring it back, but they have to pay for it, and they have to also pay for gas going up there and try to cover for the truck. It's not really a money making thing, but it also covers us having to rent the truck, so it covers our cost side of things. So in the next few months, I'll be going to IKEA with Amy. So it was just like, we can go up to Atlanta. And like, I was like, we're sitting on the couch, like our feet were killing us after walking around for 3 hours. And I was like, we could do this. And like this whole idea started like forming and everything. So, so I love IKEA.
I mean, I could definitely use some shelves.
There's shelves. Dude, we got, we went to Lowe's. Each one of these was like $30. Which I got to take those 2 back because we're not using those. But they were $30. One that was that long, actually longer than that. Guess how much it was?
$75.
10.
It was $19.
Oh,
my first guess was gonna be.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about one longer than that. At
No.
I was I got the quit. I didn't
My
hear the
first guess was
question
gonna be
right.
15. I was like, it might be lower, so I went with 10.
Yeah, it was $19. I was just like,
just like break everything in the store.
Sounds like Lowe's isn't really all that low.
Oh.
And the only thing I really like the driftwood, the lighter driftwood color. That's the only thing they didn't have. They didn't have that light color because it goes well with our wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That looks nice.
We hope you enjoy the new set and everything.
We do.
Yeah.
I do. I don't know if they do, but I mean, I
They
like
do.
it because there's
They
a lot of things we can still even do.
Yeah.
I love it.
They like it.
Wait, like the green
can
screen had its time and it
Yeah.
had its place, and it still will have.
Yeah, it has its place over in that closet.
But you know, we might have to use it a time or two,
Yeah.
maybe.
Maybe.
Why
I'm
not?
going to try to avoid it at all
right.
costs.
Yeah.
Like, Let's Plays, like, we're going to zoom in under this, and that's going to be, like, we're going to, you know, how we had on the 2017 Best of Show, we had, like, the little box and then the game. That's what it's going to look like from now on.
I'm perfectly fine with that, but because I really like it. Like it, I know I had to go out and buy shirts that weren't green because green's my favorite color, so I have a lot of T-shirts that have green in it.
Mm-hmm.
And for the longest time, my wardrobe has been held back by the green screen, but
You can now
No, you
wear
can
green
now, like, get ready
without being yelled at.
Because I'll walk in, they'll be like, "Really? Really?" Zach's like, "Let me go get you one of my shirts."
I can never wear my Lucio hat because it's like the exact same color as the green screen, and it was a birthday present.
And your hair.
And my hair. Yeah, I actually have hair.
Get ready for next week because it's gonna be in your face green.
Are you wearing like a morph suit?
The Riddler suit.
Oh, you totally should. You totally should.
I don't own one, but I do have a really, really green shirt that I like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have a really cool like green glow in the dark Zelda shirt that I can
I don't
wear.
think I have like an Archer shirt. No, like Archer the show, but it's like Green Arrow Archer.
Yeah.
Like I have that. That's green. I'm trying to think of what else I have that has green. I have like an old Avengers shirt that has the Hulk in it.
Yeah, like
I don't wear that much just because it's like I've bought my wardrobe to like work with the green screen.
Yeah.
like, but I mean, I get a lot of T-shirts through Loot Crate, and I get a lot of T-shirts that you know, Holly bought me the Pokemon, but they're Avengers, like.
Mhm.
No, they're Power Rangers. They're dressed up as the Power Rangers.
Yeah. I remember that now.
You know, I couldn't wear that one because it had Bulbasaur.
Oh, you still wore it.
I still wore it one time. And I got yelled at and had to switch shirts. But, you know, it's nice to be able to wear those again.
Yeah. So I'm assuming y'all watched the Tomb Raider trailer that I sent y'all. That look from Allie says she.
No. I did.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm very tired. I'm like,
What about
did
the
I?
look from Robbie? What does it tell you?
It looks like you haven't watched it.
No.
Lord God, man. We're not watching it now. We're discussing it.
We'll discuss it, and I will put my input where it needs to be.
Okay. So we saw the first trailer, and I thought the first trailer did a pretty good job of like introducing what the movie was going to be like. And I like that the movie is going to be close to the reboot of the Tomb Raider games that happened in the past several years, past like 5-6 years. But it did it in a weird way that felt wonky. Like it had like sound effects that didn't really go with what was going on. Like they were trying to like really force the perspective that was they were like, it's a video game movie.
Yeah, because I really did think that this was still the first trailer. I didn't know that this was.
Yeah, it has a lot of the same footage as the first trailer.
Yeah, I don't remember that much.
I'm still holding high hopes for this movie, but like you said, like it's really trying to get you to think that like you're Lara Croft in the game because you do see her take a whooping.
Yeah.
You know, on the boat, you know, going to land and, you know, having to fight those people and everything like that. I'm holding out hope because I think it can still do good, but I hope it's not like Doom or, you know, all those other, you know, even Assassin's Creed to a point, the movie.
I never saw it, but I heard it was better than people thought
It was way better than what it's supposed to be.
I need to watch it.
Yeah. Well, the second trailer did a better job. The editing was much better. They took out the weird sound effects that they were trying to put in there. And it actually established the relationship between Laura and her dad. And I think that is a huge part of what the Tomb Raider series is. It's always about her dad, like him raising her to be who she is and everything. And they did a good job in the second trailer of conveying that and showing that there is this global threat called Trinity. And the way they cut it felt like a very small version of the movie. I think they gave a little bit too much away, in my opinion. That's pretty much any trailer these days, Star Wars included. But the main villain in this feels like you watch an 80s movie and you have like the main villain and then you have like the second in command and then you have the third in command. That's what he feels like, is like the third in command from an 80s movie. It doesn't feel like very threatening. Like he knows Lord Croft or whatever, but he doesn't feel like imposing at all.
Well, I have two things. First of all, actually, I don't remember what the first thing was. On that,
she's got one thing.
I got one. No, I had two things. I lost the first thing. Anyway, my theory for that is like if it does well, then they can like move up the chain.
Yeah. It reminded me a lot of how the old James Bond movies worked with Spectre and everything. Like they had different parts of Spectre, and it kind of moved up to the high-ranking guy. I can't remember the guy's name at this point in time. He had the cat, and he was like
Gustav.
Yeah, it's the guy that they based Dr. Evil on, pretty much. But the thing that I saw in this movie that I really, really hope they convey is that first kill in the game. That first kill with the bow and arrow, and how Laura, like, that was such an emotional moment in the game where she killed a person for the first time. And just the breakdown of that and like what that meant for that character.
Yeah.
Now, the rest of the game didn't convey that ever happening because she just went on a whole murdering streak.
It's like, well, I did it once. I guess I gotta keep doing it.
Yeah, that was a problem for a lot of people, but that first one, I remember that moment so vividly.
I think it just leans more like after that on the survival aspect of it. Like it's literally you have to kill these people or they're going to kill you.
Yeah.
And I think once she got over that first kill, and I agree, I'm hoping that they push the whole, because I mean you're extinguishing the life out of somebody. It's a big deal. I mean, that's what but it's definitely the kill or be killed mentality in these games, and I hope it contrays to the movie as well. Yeah,
and from the first trailer to the second trailer, it felt like there was a lot of, they were trying to make it a suspenseful movie. This one felt closer to an action movie with actual like character development. Yeah. So I'm hopeful for it because the trailer showed me that there's more to it than what they were showing. I'm glad that they're bringing in elements from the rebooted games. That makes me very, very excited. And that Laura is this intelligent being. I'm not even saying like she's this intelligent female. Like she is just awesome.
Genuinely intelligent. Like you see
and
her,
she's just gonna kick butt the whole time. Like I'm excited.
You see her be able to, undo these puzzles that, I mean, it's stomping some of the greatest minds, and like she's just over here like
yeah.
Get wrecked.
And like the second game, I haven't played a ton of it, but as you explore the world, you'll find ruins that are in different languages. And the more you do that, like whatever language it is, it will build up your understanding of that language throughout the game. Really cool. So I doubt that will be part of the movie or whatever, but I thought that was an awesome element of the game. And yes, we've talked about a game, but we're talking about a movie. Yeah. Now you have...
I was just about to say, speaking of movies coming from games... The new Slender Man movie looks like trash. It looks so bad.
Why?
Like, so the whole premise of Slender Man, like, the original game, and I believe the creepypasta surrounding it as well, is that you're in the woods, and it's a very suspenseful game, but, like, it's supposed to be that whole, like, you're alone, like, he's constantly following you, and so it's that feeling of, like, you're alone in the woods, you're wandering around, you don't know what's happening. The trailer, like, it shows, it's like you, at first I was like, oh, this could be kind of cool, because they show people going to the woods with the flashlights, it's all dark, and I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, oh, I'm waiting for them to show the note, and eventually they show the notes, but the notes are in some girl's, like, bedroom or something. But then
That doesn't make any sense.
yeah, no. Like the thing is they made the lore of Slender Man like go like way beyond this forest. I think it's supposed to be like some girl goes missing, and I don't know. There's like weird like black vines stuff. I don't know. But like it shows there's like a girl in like a chemistry class, and she's about to like stab her eye out with a scalpel, and I'm like, what? What is this? This isn't Slender Man. Like what?
That doesn't make any sense. And
Well,
I haven't
Good
played.
job, Sony.
I haven't played Slender Man. I've watched a few people
I've
play
never
it.
personally played it either.
I don't make any sense to me.
It looks so bad.
I mean, you've seen it in other video game movie adaptations where they try to make it go outside the means of what made the game popular.
Yes, and it's like
And you can't do that. Plus, there's already a lot of like negativity towards Slender Man as well.
Yeah.
With all the, just the two
kids who, like,
girls
who stabbed their friend.
who stabbed their friend because Slender Man told them to.
I know it was because they were trying to summon him. I think.
What?
I mean, it doesn't really matter why.
Like, I mean, it's just stuff like that. Just kind of has put me off on the whole franchise itself.
Sure, yeah.
Well, and you look at video game movies as a whole, there's very few that escape the stigma that is associated with it.
Yeah.
I think Hitman is probably the one that did the best. I haven't watched the Assassin's Creed movie.
I would say Silent Hill.
I watched Silent Hill.
I haven't. I've never seen it either. I've seen bits and pieces, but I know that it's from what everything I've heard, it's very good.
I came in 10 minutes late to a friend's watching it, and I watched 45 minutes from there, and then we had to leave. So the 45 minutes that I watched of the Assassin's Creed movie, I liked it. I thought it was interesting. I do want to go back and fully watch it.
Yeah, I want to watch it.
But like you said, there's been very few. I mean, but we've seen a lot more that was just completely awful. And the number one is the Mario movie.
Oh God, yeah.
Like that one will forever hold the trophy of the worst one. Doom was really bad. Like when they go to like first person, like that made me sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Didn't Blood Rain get a movie as well? I think there was a Blood Rain movie. Prince of Persia.
Oh, that's right. I forget that movie exists all the time.
It was okay.
From what? Because I was young when I watched it.
We were in high school, man.
That's still young compared to what we are now.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like, because I was still hyped up on Prince of Persia, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome!" And like, it came on satellite a while back, and I was like, oh, "Okay." And I watched it, and I was like, "Oh."
The snake part was just dumb.
Yeah, like I mean, it had some really cool moments, but for the most part, it was just an okay movie.
Well, and you look at TV side of things, like the Link cartoon show that they had,
well, excuse me, princess.
like that and the Mario movie is why Nintendo doesn't want to make anything. Like they're very protective of their franchises.
Yeah.
And I understand why.
Because the two that they kind of branched out onto failed miserably. Like, they were so far off the mark with them.
And speaking of TV shows and video games and everything, did y'all see that the Halo show is still a go for Stars?
I didn't know that it was still a go.
Oh yeah, they came back out like this past week and said, "Guys, we are working with Steven Spielberg on this show still."
I'm sure it's going to take them a while to make it just because of all the...
Well, it's been like 10 years since they started talking about this.
Has it really been 10 years?
Yeah,
It's been quite some time. Let us know in the comments how long it's been, but I think it's been about 10 years.
Because like I just assumed that it.
I thought it was dead.
I just assumed it got left somewhere in the water,
too.
and from what you just told me, it's like, I want to see it because they had what was that Halo movie with like Jennifer Lawrence that was in it.
Jennifer Lawrence wasn't in it. It was the girl from Narnia.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, you were talking about what was that?
I'm going to look it
She was
up.
Captain.
Forward Unto Dawn.
Yeah, Forward Unto Dawn. It wasn't a horrible movie.
No, it was good. I enjoyed it, especially because they didn't know what the Covenant was and everything, and they attacked that station. Like, it was done really well, and it established the characters before there was ever any kind of like alien attack, and then you got to see the Master Chief at the end. I thought that was really cool. And then they did one that had Locke in it. I never watched it. It was for Halo 5 and everything to establish his character, but I never watched it.
Yeah. I wonder where it could be streamed.
I remember it was on Xbox somewhere that you could stream it. It was like only on there, but I'm sure it's on YouTube by this point in time. So I'm curious to see what
They do.
do if it ever comes out, because that's been a really long time.
Like, if something, especially with like Steven Spielberg and stuff working on it, it should not take you 8, 9, 10 years to pump out a TV show.
Trying to pull James Cameron.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Which I doubt there's ever another Avatar. Like, it just feels like
He said he's making a bunch more, but here's the thing. Like, I recently saw like I went back and saw a few clips from that movie, and like the people look good, but some of the creatures look like garbage. They have not aged well. It's only like 5 years old.
Came out in
2013, right? Or no?
Oh, it came out in like 2008, 2009.
I thought we were still like either fresh out of high school.
I was right. I was like in my freshman year of college.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it was 2008, 2009. I think it was 2008.
Aged well.
Yeah. All right, but you look at Jurassic Park, it's aged pretty well.
Because it was practical effects.
Yeah. And that's the big thing. Like
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just that was my biggest thing with like Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogy.
Yeah.
I love the orcs in Lord of the Rings. They looked phenomenal because it was all makeup, it was all practical effects. And then they CGI'd them all in the
and they
Hobbit,
look like trash.
And they look so bad.
Well,
But I was talking. I love it when I get like nerdy members at Pen Air because like yesterday a guy came in with an Iron Fist shirt on. We were talking about it, and then we started talking about. I was like, he's like, yeah, looking at what they've done CGI. He's like, Steppenwolf sucked, and we've seen Thanos. Thanos looks like crap.
like when he was actually in makeup in Guardians of the Galaxy 1, he looked awesome.
Yeah, and I was telling him, I'm like, you would think that after all the crap that we've given, like, because the nerds have given their feedback about how bad CGI looked. I wonder why they haven't thought, oh, let's go more practical instead of CGI. We can sprinkle some CGI in there, but don't let that be the main fixture that you're using. Let it be more of like practical. Let it be more makeup.
Yeah.
And like we were. It took me 10 minutes to open up his account, but we talked for 35, 40 minutes just about movies and stuff like that. And like CGI it's helped in areas, but it's hurt us more in other areas.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I understand using CGI for animals and because like Jungle Book, animals are gonna talk.
Yeah.
And like for scenery and like doing some stuff to fix some stuff here and there. Like for example, in the Harry Potter movies, like they flattened down Ralph Fiennes's nose as much as possible, but then they went back to CGI to make it like totally flat.
Yeah.
And so I understand stuff like that. Like CGI is very useful, but then like you look at all these classic movies like Jurassic Park and Star Wars, and like the reason why they were so amazing at the time and still are is because people found a way to create these awesome effects practically.
Yeah, in the real world.
Yeah.
And like you look at any of these things, some of them are cheesy. Some practical effects are 100% cheesy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But you love them.
Yeah. But when you go back and you look at bad CG, it looks worse than a cheesy practical effect.
Like I will admit I did something I wasn't proud of 2 or 3 months ago.
You watched Twilight again, didn't you?
No, I had because I still had the DVD of Green Lantern.
I'm sorry.
And I watched it. And
All the way through?
all the way.
Man.
No.
But like you just
Stay on target.
like I mean I was making fun of it the entire time, but like just looking at that, like going back and watching the CGI in that, and it was just bad.
Well, you look at The Force Awakens and you compare it to The Last Jedi. The Force Awakens did so much practical effect work.
Yes, it did.
And then
go back to form.
And then The Last Jedi is like, forget that. And then Canto Bight is like, all CG,
Yeah,
and you're like, why does this look bad? That's why.
Yeah.
We're going to go more in depth on that for our roundtable
Yep.
this month. We're doing for this channel is The Last Jedi. Now, I mentioned YouTube, and I don't know if y'all have kept up with the
new update.
the new updates to YouTube, and all of this is coming because of Logan Paul and his stupidity. And there's no way to say it nicely. It was stupidity.
There's sorry, I'll use
for it.
there's I cannot remember the guy's name now. A friend of mine shared this video, and it was about a Japanese man sharing his thoughts about the whole like Logan Paul video, and it was very, very well done. Like it wasn't just the the suicide forced incident. It was like his whole like
That's what
but he did a really good job at explaining it. And he was like, had this been like if the Force thing had been the first time thing, like the only thing he'd done, he's like, yes, it was bad, but people make mistakes, they learn from it. But he was like, going back through a lot of his old videos, he's like, this is just who he is. Like I wish I could remember the guy's name, but he did a really good job at explaining thoughts about it.
Somebody that I watch a lot is Philip DeFranco.
Yeah.
And he did a very good job of laying into and I loved how some of the bigger personalities on YouTube has not backed him at all because it was it was so dumb. And you look at what he was doing through
It was disrespectful too.
Incredibly disrespectful.
He was putting dead fish on people's car, putting handing someone a dead fish and walking away, and just doing so much disrespectful stuff to the Japanese culture.
Yeah, it was terrible.
And to top it all off, then he goes into the suicide forest and he's filming a dead body. And the worst thing about it is, yes, when you open up the video, it says, hey, this contains mature subjects. Do not watch, if you're underage. But guess what he had as the freaking
Thumbnail?
The dead body. It just doesn't make sense. And, I hate that YouTube has had to become much stricter, but in a way I'm kind of glad they do. It's hurting other people because of someone's stupidity. Something that someone knows they should not be putting on there, because there's so many people who suffer from depression, thoughts of suicide, and it's not the answer. And he came out and he had an apology.
It was
the first apology was so bad, and then he got so much flack for that. He came out with a second apology, which felt more real, but we'll never fully know if it was completely real or if he was just doing that to kind of help with the backlash he was getting.
What it was also the man who on this video is talking about, his name is That Japanese Man Yuta. It's very Yuta. He talked about the apology videos. He's not sorry for the content. He's sorry that he got in trouble for it.
Yeah, got in trouble for it.
But yeah, enough about. I don't know what to talk about.
Well,
he's garbage man.
YouTube responded, and they're all our hearts are sorry for this, that, and the other, and it goes to this point, and let me find where it is. And it took them quite some time before they even responded to this.
And
it took them how do we do this?
Yeah.
And it took them a while to even react to anything. That thing was trending for way too long.
Yeah, it was.
And there was no algorithm for them to be able to, and they didn't take it down. Logan took it down.
Yep.
And YouTube dropped the ball.
Yeah, they did. So the reason why everything their PR people were just how on earth do we come back from this? So.
I'm trying to find it. I can't find it. Pull it up. Again, this is not all planned. We're just kind of going off the cuff. But they're like, we're sorry for this. We're sorry for the family and all of this sort of stuff. And it just felt like we're trying to cover our butts because of our supporters, our advertisers and everything. But what gets me is that anytime any controversies happen, even if it's where, the Wall Street Journal did the hit piece on PewDiePie, that whole situation and adpocalypse happened from that.
Yeah.
They didn't punish the big YouTubers. They didn't punish the person that is causing these things, because here's why. They're the ones that bring in the money. They're the ones that have the most views. And Logan Paul and Jake Paul both I do not watch their content. I do not support them at any sort of way, but they bring in the views. So instead of punishing them, they're punishing smaller creators.
Yep.
Instead of hiring, and they said they're going to have more people actually viewing content and checking things and all of this sort of stuff. I understand you cannot watch all the content that is being put up on there. There was also, I don't know if y'all have seen this part of it. I think Philip DeFranco talked about this, where the kid stuff, like people were putting on, like they were tagging stuff as like kid shows, but it was like completely like weird stuff. Like they were stabbing people with needles and all of this kind of stuff. That was going on, but that was sliding under the radar. And they were getting so many views because it was kid stuff. Yeah. They'd be dressed up like as Elsa and all these characters, but they were doing like weird random stuff. Yeah. YouTube didn't catch any of that.
No, because they're like, okay, it passes this guideline, it passes this guideline. We don't need to watch the video. It's good to go.
Yeah.
And like I said, like, I mean, they do need to have some people, like, or an algorithm that kind of, figures something out that flags it. Like, I mean, I'm sure it was getting so many red flags, and just like the Logan Paul movie, it got so many flags, and it was trending, and they didn't even take it down.
Yeah.
Logan Paul took it down himself.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a mess.
And we're in apology society right now.
Yeah.
Somebody messes up, Apple's messed up, EA's messed up, Activision is messed up. We're human in nature, but when things go past so many people and nobody says anything and it goes out to the public, like there were a lot of people with Logan Paul.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people with Logan Paul. There should have been something said. There should have been something said by YouTube. But now YouTube has instated this new thing. I'll kind of read it to you. We don't read anymore in here. But here's the email that we received to both of our channels, both Nerd Cave and Nerd Cave Gaming. What's changing? Under the new eligibility requirements announced today, your YouTube channel, Nerd Cave, is no longer eligible for monetization because it does not meet the new threshold of 4,000 hours of watch time within the past 12 months and 1,000 subscribers. As a result, your channel will lose access to all monetization tools and features associated with the YouTube Partner Program on February 20th, 2018, unless you surpass this threshold in the next 30 days. Accordingly, this email serves as 30 days notice of that your YouTube Partner Program terms are terminated. Now, any money that we've made on YouTube so far, we'll get. Like they'll send us a check and all of that. And I'm not sure they didn't cover this. I'm assuming if we pass that threshold, we'll become monetized and everything. Yes. But it goes back to, instead of punishing the people that have caused a problem, instead of demonetizing them, instead of monitoring their content, Logan Paul and Jake Paul have done stuff that has caused problems.
And it's not just their stint in Japan. Like,
their
stuff is disruptive wherever they go.
Yep.
Yeah. Instead of having a crew to monitor their stuff, I know we have a free speech and all of this, but there are guidelines on YouTube.
Yeah.
That video of the suicide forest did not follow the guidelines. No. They should have a team watching their stuff.
How it should be done is if you have a flagged video, if it's flagged, as inappropriate content, the people who are supposed to be watching needs to watch your channel for however many months, make sure everything's good, and then move on. I have people dedicated to these people who are making the bad stuff, and leave the people like us who are making good content,
family friendly content.
You're not going to find anything that my grandmother could watch our show and not be mad at it. Holly's grandmother watches, has tuned into our live stream at one time.
Yeah.
And we talk about the games, we talk about the movies, but we do it in a way where if I had a 5-year-old son, I'd be cool with him watching us.
Yeah.
But they're going to let the people like Logan Paul, Jake Paul, and all these people, PewDiePie. Like, I mean, not that PewDiePie did something.
Well, he later did something wrong.
Like, I'm talking about the first point.
Yeah.
But like, instead of focusing on them and all the other people who are causing problems, they're just. They're really getting nothing like done to them. They're getting a. Don't do that again.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we're getting demonetized.
You're getting a.
Yeah, we're getting demonetized and all that, and we don't make a ton of money on YouTube. Like, our money is made from Patreon, from the people that support us and everything, and thank you for that.
Yeah.
You made a lot of things possible, and we appreciate that. But it comes to the point of, okay, if you're demonetizing our channel, I don't want to see an ad ran on our channel unless it's baked in.
Yeah.
Like, if I see something that is ran on our, and I want everybody to let us know after the February 20th date, if there's an ad ran on the Nerd Cave that is before, like, pre-roll anything, that should not happen.
No, absolutely not.
And I'm assuming that it won't, but you know what?
You never
Assuming does. Now, my biggest thing is, this is all happening, and we could get all up in arms. They're taking away our money and all of this kind of stuff. But when it comes down to it, I don't really I care because it's affecting a lot of small creators. And I understand where they're coming from, because there are a lot of people that open up a YouTube account and they start posting stuff.
Yeah.
And that stuff isn't always good stuff. They should monitor. And I know that sounds like crazy talk because there's so many channels.
It's literally impossible to watch.
It's impossible to do, but if you're going to do this to these smaller channels, you need to go start watching the content from your bigger channels. Mm-hmm. And this is what makes me extremely happy. Twitch has come in and they've partnered up with Disney, and they're bringing people over like Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, to create content that is exclusive to Twitch.
That is a very smart move.
And I'm just like...
And plus, they have Disney backing them.
Yeah.
If you have the evil corporate mouse overlord backing you, you're probably gonna win.
Yeah. So it just puts a bad taste in my mouth, but I'm not discouraged. I'm excited for all the stuff that we're doing here.
Yeah.
Because we have Patreon, and I'm not trying to push that as an ad, but we have Patreon, and that's where our funding has come from so far,
and that's
in
why,
our pockets.
It doesn't necessarily hurt us. Like, the reason that I'm upset about it is because there are people who
do have that as
income. And I mean, it might not be their main income, but
it's still it helps.
And they might not have Patreons, or anything like that. I mean, it's just, it's sad that it's what YouTube's coming to. But I mean, if there's ever a time for Twitch to make some big moves, it's now.
It's now, yeah.
Twitch and Facebook need to do something. Like, Facebook needs to really, I know I watch a lot of videos on Facebook, but they need to really make video on demand on their website something better.
They've gotten a lot better, because I know ESPN and stuff like that are having...
The shows are really good. Like, I'm hoping that we will get a show eventually, because that would be an awesome thing to have. Yeah, they have like Rooster Teeth has a show which everyone should check out. It's called Master and Apprentice, and it's about making props for cosplay and everything. It is awesome.
I'm gonna need to check that out.
It is awesome.
Bigger shows like Pardon the Interruption and stuff like that. Like, I get a notification every time ESPN puts one on the Facebook, and it's their entire show.
Yeah, I like it, and it has a little bit more features and everything. I think Facebook has such a huge user base that they are set to do something big.
They need to cultivate this.
I'm sure that they're all their people are brainstorming how to push that service and make it bigger, make it better in the wake of YouTube. YouTube right now.
Once they introduced Facebook Live, that took off.
Yeah. And everybody can do it. There's no barrier to entry on that. And that's the cool thing is my father or my mother could go live right now if they had Facebook accounts. But they could go live right now. And I think that's the coolest thing, because everybody sees so many different things. And I think that's why Vine was such a big thing, is anybody could make content. It was 6 seconds. somebody could do something interesting for 6 seconds.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, also to challenge people to do something creative in 6 seconds.
Yeah. And it spun off people's career from that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
Zach King,
Logan Paul.
yeah.
oh, is he on that?
Yeah, that's where he started.
But like you're right. Like I mean, I still go on YouTube and watch like Vine.
I do too. I do it all the time.
Because there's some really funny ones.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Never
of course,
fails.
my father would call me
Hey, it's not your
during
mom.
my dad's calling me right now.
But last thing that I just want to talk about is the movie that will be coming out sometime this year. I can't remember the exact name, but Ready Player One.
Mm-hmm.
Nick posted on our Facebook page talking about if we haven't read Ready Player One, we need to. So as soon as I saw that, because I've been wanting to read the book, but I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna wait till the movie comes out. Well, when I saw that, Nick, I went on and I bought the book. I had a credit on Audible, so I bought it. And I have consumed that book like no other book I've consumed.
Mhm.
Like, it has been great. I'm glad we were able to give you some choices for books as well. But, like, Ready Player One, not only does it play on your nostalgia of loving all things 80s and 90s, like, I mean, the book is just interesting in itself. Because it's delving into so many different things, like, stuff that we wished we could have. Like, I wished we had something as immersive as the Oasis. Because, I mean, what video game playing, nerd wouldn't love to have something like that? And getting to kind of be put into Wade's shoes, which is the main character. He goes by Percival in the in the Oasis.
In the Oasis, yeah.
And just being able to go through, his story and seeing what's happening with everything, and getting to see all these really cool Easter eggs, like him playing and getting a perfect score in Pac-Man. These different things like that, like him talking about how he won the DeLorean and like he's upgraded it and it has like the Ecto 8, the Ghostbusters license plate on it, like just different things like that. He talks about in his warehouse. Once he becomes, really big into the game, he has the Firefly, the ship from Firefly, and he has an X-Wing that he uses to get around quick things. Like, it's just so cool to be able to, and Holly's even listened to it a few times, and she's like, how do, because they're talking about R2-D2, they're talking, R2-D2 was he was doing a turntable and playing music at a party, like... She's like, how do they, the copyrights for all that stuff? I was like, I'm sure they've worked something out with all these people, especially going into the movie.
Yeah.
But because it's going to have tons.
There's Overwatch characters in it.
Yeah, we've seen. I think it's Tracer,
and you can kind of see Mercy in the background.
You've seen Battletoads, Ninja Turtles, Speed Racer.
There was Transformers in there. I want to say.
I mean. Just so many Gundam.
Yeah,
I love Gundam.
I do too. But and there's so many like 80s and 90s like hit you in the feels, and I've had the book for a week now, and I'm already halfway through it, and like the Sixers is what they're called, but the I guess the evil media organization that's trying to take over. Just seeing like the battle between them and they're called the High Five, but the 5 people who are topping the leaderboard. Artemis and all them. Seeing how the reactions and everything between those characters have just been phenomenal. Like this has probably been thrusted into like my top 5 books.
I don't know. It came in a loot box a few years ago.
The
Ready Player One came in a loot box a few years ago.
Like the game or
the book. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That would have been really cool.
Yeah. Now, if I wanted to send a very lengthy and wordy email to YouTube,
you'd want to make sure it's,
grammatically correct, right?
Correct.
Now, when I went to school, they didn't really teach grammar.
They didn't teach us no grammar.
That's that J. Florida.
they didn't. It was we were taught the FCAT, structure, and it really wasn't about grammar or anything like that. I don't even remember. The first time I ever had a grammar lesson. I remember I had it like 6th grade, didn't really stick, and then when I had English composition in college, that was the first time that I had anything.
And I felt like I was so far behind. But there's something out there that can help you.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
For the listeners of the Nerd Cave podcast, Grammarly is offering a free download of the Grammarly software. Now, I use Grammarly every day, and anytime we do an ad read or anything, we actually use the product. Like, we're not like a lot of people like, oh, use this thing or whatever. Like, we actually have used it. It has helped me so much. Like, it's actually helped me understand where commas go. It's actually helped me know where commas go and different things like that, and how to structure sentences much better.
Like, even with me, I'm having to send emails out to my members, to my coworkers, to, high-ranking people in, Penn Air Federal Credit Union. And, I don't want to sound like some dumb idiot that's like,
No commas anywhere.
I would like to meet you on this day.
And they're like, Robbie, that was like 30 lines of a run-on sentence. Oh, here's a period for you.
Yeah.
Like, Grammarly has helped me understand so much more of where to put, because like you said, Jay really didn't teach us much about it.
No, they didn't. And I don't know if you've got it yet. They actually have a keyboard on the phone now.
I didn't know they had a keyboard, but I do have the Grammarly. I think mine's Ginger. I don't think I have.
Yeah, they have a Grammarly keyboard on your phone now that works just like it. Okay. It's awesome. So if you struggle, or if you have important emails that you need to write, or recommendation letters, I use it like when I have to write a recommendation letter from one of my students or whatever. I put it in there. I start typing. Make sure everything looks good. Grammarly is the way to go. To download Grammarly today, go to getgrammarly.com/nerdcave. Again, that's grammarly.com/nerdcave to download Grammarly for free. You don't have to pay anything for this. This is totally and utterly free. On the house. Just for you. I'm excited. Like, I love Grammarly. Grammarly has helped me for quite some time be literate.
Oh, yeah.
Be literate. So
it helps.
Yes, it does. Definitely. All right. Any other things that I want to talk about?
I'm trying, like, just on the vein of video game movies, like going back a little bit. But recently I was going down the IMDb rabbit hole, like I usually do in my spare time. Because I love movies. I saw a thing. It was, or I can't remember exactly how I got to it, but eventually I got to the part where like it was Tom Holland, was the new Spider-Man. Does a great job of that. But Tom Holland. He's listed. If you look at it, it's still pre-production, as Nathan Drake for an Uncharted movie.
Yeah, he's supposed to be young Nathan Drake.
God bless America. Okay, my friend and I saw that. I told my friend, and I was like, I think he would make a fantastic young Nathan Drake.
Yeah.
But he's too young to be like regular Nathan Drake.
No, he's supposed to be young Nathan Drake.
Okay.
I hope Nathan Fillion is.
It's one of those, like, I would love that, but at the same time, like, I kind of hope they find someone like new who would be really good. If they can't, then Nathan Fillion's totally fine.
I feel like Nathan Fillion would kill it.
Oh, no, he would absolutely kill it.
I feel like...
But it'd be nice to have some new blood in Hollywood.
When you look at the animated, the video game Nathan Drake, I feel like it was just a perfect fit.
No, absolutely. And plus, they can just call him Nate, and, like, he'd just be like, yeah, what?
Yeah.
My friend, actually, she was like, what about Liam Hemsworth? And I was like, that would be interesting. I don't necessarily agree.
Liam Hemsworth is like...
Also, but, like, the
a
piece
cardboard
also done, like, he's done
box.
Serious roles. Like, he's never really done like a comedic part.
He's like a cardboard box.
Yeah, no, I was like, she was saying like look wise, if he could bring on like the, the lightheartedness that Chris Hemsworth has, then it could be a decent fit. And I was like, maybe.
I just
but
don't.
Again,
I just don't
want
see
them
it.
to bring in some new blood.
Yeah.
I want new blood in Hollywood. It's all the same people.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll get buff and I'll go do it.
Okay.
One last thing for me. If you haven't seen The Greatest Showman yet, you're missing out. Like,
I heard unfortunate things about it.
What have you heard about it?
Some of my friends because we all love musicals. They were very disappointed in the music.
Okay, there's only been one movie that I bought the soundtrack from, and that was The Watchmen. This is
the why?
I don't know. It just had some songs that I really like.
God.
Here's their reasoning is that I was talking to her about it, we were discussing the movie. Is that with the success of Hamilton, very pop, rap music with musical, and it was new, it was really cool. So it was kind of like they took a page, like for what you told me, she's like, it was like they took a page out of that. The musics were very pop-like. They were songs that were written not to be for a musical, but to be put onto the radio. That's what she was saying. Because musical
friends
songs.
Are dumb.
No. Because they were saying that it's songs in musicals, they're supposed to be, they progress, the story is supposed to be about dialogue, not just they sang a Pink song at one point or something.
A Pink song?
Yeah, what was it? It was...
No, they do add on to the story, because you have Rewrite the Stars is when the two characters who are forbidden to be in love are able to sing a song about, the world's wanting to keep us apart, but we want to be with each other. And she said that those two characters, all their stuff was totally fine. The other side is when Hugh Jackman and Zac Efron are in this bar.
He's trying to convince them.
They're trying to convince.
That was the only song that they were like, yeah, that was actually a musical song. Everything else was not.
But then you also have "This Is Us" when the bearded lady is singing the song because Hugh Jackman. Then why are you saying the music sucks if you're that sounds good?
No.
That sounds good. These songs are good.
No, that song. No, that's the opera singer, correct? Is she the opera singer? That's okay.
No. Okay. That's never enough. And she's not an opera singer because that song was pop. That's the only problem that I had with the music.
Yes, that's what they were saying. They were like, don't think she's an opera singer, and then
because
immediately
she's
have them
pop.
sing. Yeah.
But the music is really good. I have the soundtrack. I've listened to the soundtrack. I've watched the movie twice in theaters. It's really good. Go see it. Don't listen to her.
I know, no, they were saying, go see it for Zephron and Zendaya, that they were amazing, so.
It was really good. It was really well done. And, yes, there was a few songs that didn't add to the movie, but they were good in themselves. But there was a lot more of the music that tied into the show, that progressed the show. Watch it for yourself. Form your own opinion.
I need
Don't follow your friends. Be a leader.
You're like... Follow my opinion.
I highly
opinion.
trust their opinion when it comes to musicals. I want to see it for myself still, but I was very sad when
I've also watched tons and tons and tons of musicals.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying you haven't. I'm just saying that was.
It's my forte as well.
Yeah, unless it's Disney.
I haven't watched Kinky Boots.
Champ over
I
here.
haven't watched Kinky Boots or anything like that yet.
You have watched Kinky Boots.
No, I watched Rent.
No, we watched Kinky Boots together. I thought we watched it together.
We never
Probably
did.
Someone else.
I thought
we had talked about it, but we never did.
I thought we did. I know I watched it with
Amy.
No, it was before Amy.
Ooh.
And Brittany was there, so I figured that you were. It's a good movie. You should go watch it. Kinky Boots. All right, it's time. As I've got a part of a shade in here.
That's fine.
Form your own opinion.
So each and every week, we're going to spin the wheel
of
nerdicality.
That is too close. Copyright infringement.
Yeah, I know. We're going to spin our wheel. And
a wheel of nerdiness.
Some of these will have to be planned. Some of these will be happening right after.
We would have to make a separate video for this at a later date.
Depending on what we get.
Yeah. If it's a stare off, we'll do it right now.
Yeah. But, this week we're doing something special because this is the first full week of us kicking things off. So we've not only doubled your chance to win a prize, we've tripled your chance to win a prize.
The caveat to that is you have to be a Patreon supporter at the $1 level or higher.
Because we really don't have a way of
tracking our listeners down.
Who's listened? So we're gonna. It's literally You put in your debit card or your bank account information. And,
Send us your social security
I was
number.
just about to say social security number.
and all it is
And
a
your first
dollar.
pet.
Obviously, you know, it's an easy process. You can download the app or go to the website and do it. But
Patreon.com/nerdcave.
Yes.
Just so everybody knows.
or you can just search Nerd Cave on the Patreon app and we pop
Yeah.
up as well. But, you know, that's just the easiest way for us to be able to, you know, do it, because then we'd have to be like, oh, he liked this one, which means he may have watched, you know. It's just the easiest way to do it. So,
Yeah. All right.
let's do it.
You guys smell real good.
Let's make it happen.
As I
Kevin.
knock, so the audio listeners,
The wheel is on
the
table.
wheel is now on the table. Let me make sure that this is like flat. Like our wheel has had the tendency to like move backwards.
It moves forward just because the wheel is so heavy.
Everybody
that, like, it
ready?
moves forward.
Everybody ready?
You're going
Yep, spin
real
it. You hear that beautiful bean footage?
Like, do I need to stop it?
No, just
It will stop.
Because I know it's going to
Lord God, don't ever spin it that much. It's like a little. You're like, hey-ya!
It's gravity's taking it.
It's okay.
And... Okay.
All right, what is
I have
that?
no idea what it is. Go look.
I think it's World Championship. It's a purple.
It's a purple.
I have no idea.
Giveaway!
It's a giveaway.
Yay.
All right, we'll be.
I wanted to try again.
Well, that's it. You get one spin. All right. So there you go. We'll be contacting one lucky. Stop spinning. One lucky winner over on patreon.com. If you want a chance to win. Now, this isn't our raffle tier, which is at $5. This is just $1.
This is just $1.
$1.
We don't even know what we're giving away yet.
No, we'll look in a prize box. We'll contact somebody and
You like how you want this?
we'll send them out. Be like, hey, you're a winner.
Winner. Chicken dinner.
All right, guys. We hope you enjoyed episode 240 of the Nerd Cave podcast. I know I certainly did.
I did. It was fun.
It was worth the $1.
To make me what?
Holler. Technically, it's more than $1, but we won't go there. Guys, thanks for watching. Go support us. Watch us. Share us. Do all of those things in between.
Patron saints.
I don't know if I'm going to call us that, but you know. Whatever.
We'll come up with something.
We'll come up with something. Hope that you have a blessed week. This has been Zach.
Robbie?
And Allie.
Have a blessed week. I said it earlier.
Yeah.
It's all good. Bye, everybody.